Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for November 25th. We're looking at the US-Japanese yen pair. I am expecting this pair to move within a range as high as 98.24 on the very high side and 93.93 on the lower side. Do look for some resistance to come into this market around 95.73 and look for support around 94.90. We've already seen it kind of bounce off that level before. Interestingly enough, though, if the market does come down and break that low, we have some previous support here, and a break of the current low could see it push to that fairly quick, and roughly be around 30 to 40 pips. Worth of movement there, so you may want to keep an eye on that particular move. This pair is pretty much moving sideways. It is having large range days, but it is moving sideways for the most part. Biases to is sideways as well. Now, looking at the Euro-USD pair, I'm expecting this pair to move as high as 131.78 and as low as 126.78. Look for some resistance to come in around 130.100 and look for some support to come in around 129.80. Now we have what looks like the beginnings of an inside bar. Of course, this previous session did go down quite a lot before moving higher, so this one could be the same way. But going into the holidays, Thanksgiving and all, we could see this particular pair form an inside day and then have a potential trade off that. Of course, we don't have that as of yet. This pair is moving sideways for the most part, and the bias right now is sideways as well. Now, looking at the pound US dollar pair, this pair I'm expecting to move between 156.54 on the high side, on the lower side 148.04. Now look for some resistance around 155.30 and look for support around 152.66. This pair is moving sideways as well. Kind of broke out of its range that had been trading into the upside, but I believe that it's going to go right back within a range. I don't anticipate it shooting up and moving higher, not as of yet. Now, looking at the US Swiss, this particular pair has broke its trend line to the downside by a significant amount now, and I am looking for this particular pair to move as high as 121.49 and 117.57. Now look for some resistance to come in around 119.36 and look for support to come into this market around 11800. Now, something I am looking at and going to keep an eye on during this next session is a break of this low, which is a little bit lower than this session's low. Looking at around 118.23 to go short. This is be a really quick trade, but basically taking the difference between this support, previous support, and the previous resistance. I believe it'll shoot right through it once it goes to the downside, and basically looking to get out around 11800. Now this is a really quick trade, so you probably want to keep your stop loss fairly close on this, but looking to grab about 23 pips on that particular trade. Now looking at the news, we had the US GDP released for the third quarter today. It was as expected at negative 0.5%, but of course it had dropped from negative 0.3% from last month, which wasn't good for the US dollar. Now looking ahead for tomorrow, we have the GDP for the pound being released. That's the third quarter, and the consensus is that it has dropped from negative 0.5% from last time to negative 0.5%. So the consensus is that it's going to stay the same. Same with the year-to-date. They're saying that it will come out at 0.3%. That's being released at 4:30 a.m. Now, if the numbers come out way outside of the consensus, you could definitely see the market move on this particular news. The U.S. has their durable goods orders being released for October. That's at 8:30 a.m. The consensus is that it has dropped from 0.9% down to negative 2.5%. That news announcement can move the market. Not if you're a news trader, I wouldn't consider it one of the ones that you would trade, but it can move the market if the numbers are way off. There's also the New Zealand trade balance for October being released tomorrow at 4:45 p.m. And the consensus on that is that it has dropped from negative 1.183 billion to negative 1 billion, actually gone up, not down. So that would be good news for the New Zealand dollar if that is the case. Well, that about does it for today. Until tomorrow, good trading.